Headlines are saying this morning. And I have with me in the studio two gentlemen to do justice to what we're doing, understanding the headlines here. Dr. Kayode is here, Dr. Dayo Kayode is here, and as well as Dotun Ojon. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Nice to see you both.
Nice to see you.
All right, let's begin with the blueprint this morning. Blueprint is saying new governors groan under debt burden. That is what the blueprint is saying. Lagos hits 1.043 trillion naira. Bauchi 140.6 billion naira. Gombe State 76.9 billion naira. And Zamfara 71.9 billion. Kwara State 76.6 billion. And I left 11 billion in treasury. Ex-Bauchi governor is saying that. And we're studying the books. Nasarawa governor is saying that. Okay. That's all over the place. Let's move now to the Vanguard. Vanguard is the next paper now. Governors inherit 3.9 trillion naira debt. All right, the Lagos, Imo, Ogun, Bauchi, Oyo, Adamawa most affected, and how the NGF, that's the Nigeria Governors Forum, has been assisting states to boost their IGR. That's the DG is saying that, and says he helped states grow revenue from 707.9 billion naira in 2014 to 1.1 trillion in 2018. How we can make states viable. Stakeholders and experts are revealing this, and E.K. Clark, Ekpo, Onyekbere, Adeni Kunju, others speak about this. All right, issues of debt. There's a very good breakdown of all of those on the front page of the Vanguard. You can grab a copy and see how things are there. Now, moving now to the Daily Sun. Daily Sun says APC crisis. Oyegun hates Oshomole, says he's incompetent to lead party. That's what the Daily Sun has this morning. All right, moving on to The Nation. Talking about the National Assembly, Lawan Dume step up race for Senate President. And Kalu, 58 APC senators unite for Senate leader. That is what's on the front page of The Nation. All right, gentlemen, that's all over the place from states. Well, one would say it is quite expected, but others say, well, is there justification for this debt running into billions? And what is really on ground, especially if you consider a state like Lagos, you know, that's about $1 trillion debt from the report we got here. Dr. Kayode, let me start with you.
Yeah. Once again, good morning, viewers. Yeah, my own is I'm not saying states should not owe.
Yep.
Because to owe is part of development. But the issue is, what have you been using the money you owing for? Look at Brazil along the line, the money they were owing. But look at the way they spend that money. They use it for development. So let us look at all those states. To the extent of the money they are owing, what kind of development can we experience in such states? Now you can see that some of them are even talking about growing IGR. Growing IGR, how? Is it that you are looking outside the box to grow the IGR? Is it through industrialization and technology? But if you look at most of them, they said they are growing IGR based on taxation. Only taxing people and then making them to pay all sorts of money. Like, look, for instance, look at Lagos. I was discussing with somebody just now. After paying what you are supposed to pay on this or on your computer to renew your license, you still go back to Lagos State. And they will now be charging you about 2,500 naira again. So calculate that on every other person renew their licenses. So you see all these things coming up with various types of taxes here and there, and now they are saying they are growing IGR. Is that how to grow IGR? No. You have, when you are growing your IGR, you want to see your level of industrialization. You want to see how technical savvy you are turning your states to. You also want to see the kind of capital development you are showcasing of your state. How the level of employment. How are you empowering your youths? Because those are the areas whereby you can also earn money from, not only taxing the people.
All right, Dotun, when it comes to justifying all of this billions of naira, in fact, trillions, if you put everything together, the other paper says about 3.9 trillion naira among states. Some economic experts say, well, we are still safe when it comes to the GDP, you know, with the ratio of the
I
debts.
totally agree. If you're looking at us as a nation, we are safe. But the unfortunate part of it is that our desire is in contrast with our belief as a people. The first belief we have, which we trashed out last week, was the belief that a government does not have business in business. Now, for you to generate IGR, you need to provide service for the people, not necessarily taxing them. This is 21st century mindset. You produce service, you provide service to the people, then they pay you back. By so doing, then you are going to increase your IGR. For example,
So the more outlets for businesses out there, the more money
for
you
example,
get.
in Lagos, for example, in Lagos, the gold mine we have in Lagos is not even the newly discovered oil. It's transportation.
Exactly.
Because we have over 20 million people, when you move them from one point to the other, then you are going to make more money. Unfortunately, government has left the touts and the agberos under the bridge here and there to be getting this money, and a few people are getting richer, while at the expense
And each
the
of those
government.
50 naira, 100 naira counts.
Counts a lot.
Because you keep mopping it in
So
and mopping it in.
it's a problem of mindset until we correct the mindset that for us to actually develop IGR, like Dr. Kayode said, we do not necessarily put the burden of taxation on the people. All we need to do is to actually think out of the box and provide services for them. Then by so doing, they pay us back. Then the government becomes richer.
All right, now away from Lagos, because Lagos, one way or the other, it seems to be getting a lot of things right or doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
But to the other states that don't have the population, that don't have all of the facilities that Lagos has, when it comes to thinking outside of the box, what options do you think they have?
Okay, even if we are moving outside Lagos, let us take Kogi or Ekiti or Ondo State, for example. Look at what is happening in Tanzania now, working on cashew. But look at our own cashew plantation. I was amazed that in Abuja, they can be destroying all those cashew plantations for houses.
And we have beautiful cashew
Do you
plantations in the
understand?
east, in the
That-
southeast.
even that, I don't even want to go to that area. Let us look at the area that we're even closer to. Look at Ondo State, the same thing. Look at Ekiti, the same thing. What are we doing with all those cash crops? For us to increase IGR and then for us to be indebted, we need to see where these investments are going into. Not that the investor that is going to private pockets, or you say you are building bridges where you don't need bridge. Or you say you are, all of them, they are busy building roads. Look at what Jakonde did when he was governor of Lagos State. Look at what Dajashin did when he was governor of Ondo State. Look at Ondo State, old Ondo State. Look at Nirowi. Where's Nirowi now? Where's this glass, whatever, Oluwa glass? Where are all those things? They've gone into comatose. Where is Vitalo? Where is Vitalo? Where's Odua Textile Mills? Do you understand? These are the areas we thought they'd be putting all this money for us to get more money for the government. So it's high time they started thinking outside the box, like other small countries are doing.
All right, Dotun, I wonder how challenging it is going to be for new governors coming in, considering the burden of debts that they have to contend with.
It's going to be a lot challenging because except for a few of them who have not seen them work, only we just have to wait. Except for a few of them who have the ability to actually, I don't want to use the word think out of the box, but to do things extraordinarily. And when I mean extraordinarily, the first thing you have to believe in is that the resources that we need as a people, God in his infinite mercy has blessed us with it, both monetary and in human capital. So the first thing is going to be challenging, but again, we must, for example, I'm going to cite an example of what happened in the old Western region. They don't have money as we have now, but there was this cocoa marketing board that was established at that point in time. And what has that helped the economy to do? That has helped the economy in providing direct cash to the farmers. Because you can be sure that once you produce your cocoa, you take it there, these people are going to buy it, they do the marketing for you. So if you identify areas of your strength, there are each of the states in Nigeria has area of strength that you do not need to refine. In Ondo State, for example, now, they are thinking about how to refine, what's it called, bitumen. You don't have the capacity. Look at areas where you have the capacity without necessarily having to invite the federal government, which is overburdened. Develop this area, and it can happen in the area of agriculture.
But solid minerals is still an item under the
That's
exclusive
what I'm
legislative
saying.
list. So by policy or constitutionally, the states don't have the powers within
to explore.
to explore all of those.
But the
Well,
issue
we have to leave it here now because of time. Thank you, Dr. Ojon, for coming. Dr. Dayo Kayode, thank you very much for coming as well. Thank you.
Lines in Nigerian newspapers. I have with me in the studio two gentlemen, a political technocrat, Dr. Dayo Kayode, and leadership and communications strategist, Dotun Ojon. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
All right, let's head straight to the papers, and I start with the Vanguard. Governors inherit 3.9 trillion naira debt. Lagos, Imo, Ogun, Bauchi, Oyo, Adamawa most affected. How NGF, that's the Nigeria Governors Forum, has been assisting states to boost their IJR. DG says it helped states grow revenue from 707.9 billion naira in 2014 to 1.1 trillion naira in 2018. How we can make states viable stakeholders, experts. E.K. Clark, OK, Ekpo, Onyekwere, Adeni Kinju, others speak. Well, we'll move to the front page of the Daily Sun. APC crisis, Oyegun hits Oshomole, says he's incompetent to lead party. And on the Nation now, Lawan Ndume step up race for Senate President. Kalu 58 APC senators unite for Senate leader. To the front page of the Blueprint, new governors grown under debt burden. Lagos hit 1.043 trillion naira, Bauchi 140.6 billion naira, Gombe 76.9 billion naira, Zamfara 71.9 billion naira, Kwara 76.6 billion naira. I left 11 billion naira in Treasury ex-Bauchi governor. We are studying the books, Nasarawa governor. Well, to the front page of the Daily Trust, the ex-governors, ministers jostle to make Buhari's cabinet. We'll be looking at that shortly, gentlemen. And finally, on the front page of the Daily Times, APC, Oyegun bombs Oshomole, says ex-Edo governor lacks the temperament to run a political party. South APC chairman back Oshomole fourth cause for his resignation. All right, gentlemen, let's look at the front page of the Daily Trust. Ex-governors, ministers jostling to make Buhari's cabinet. And if you would remember or recall the interview that the president had before his inauguration, he spoke about him not seeing anyone that he should drop in his first term, speaking about his cabinet. Gentlemen, do you think the president should retain his cabinet in his first time? I'll start with you, Dr. Kayode.
Retaining first-time cabinets? But the issue is, he first of all has to look at their performances. Do we still want to continue exporting yam without adding any value? And then when it gets to the destination, it will return back to Nigeria. I think you remember that scenario that happened. Are we still going to have a kind of minister that will be in charge of our security and will not be able to tackle all these insecurity problems? Are we still going to have a minister in the Ministry of Education that we continue to be having incessant strikes in our universities, polytechnics, and all that? How about technology? That will be spending a lot of money to launch satellites in the orbit, and then all those satellites are not working. We cannot use it to tackle insecurity. We cannot use it to improve our telecommunication and all that. So he must be able to define what he wants to do in this second and final term.
It's,
to
you
be
know,
able
the
to
campaign was about taking us to the next level.
That's what I'm saying. So he needs to look at that. Who and who can I bring on board that will assist me to achieve this what I want, this thing that I want to achieve? Then what kind of body language do I want to give them towards performance? So these are the things I expect him to look at before bringing in all these new people into his cabinet. And most especially, he should try as much as possible to bring in people that are versatile within the 21st century dictates and requirements.
And amongst these people that we have mentioned, is there any of them that you have seen as versatile?
Left for me,
laughing.
I can hear him laughing, but left for me, if I should look at all these ministers, their ministries, honestly speaking, have not performed. But there are some MDGs.
Some would say that 4 years perhaps was too short a time for them to do as much.
Look at some MDGs. Look at what JAMB brought in. Look at the old money JAMB brought in. Look at the money that came in from customs. I mean, some of these MDGs, they really, really perform. But when you now look at the ministry in totality, they sort of whittle down the achievements.
All right,
so let him look elsewhere to bring in technocrats.
Let's get Dotun's perspective now, because some have said that the president talked about, or the campaign was about taking Nigerians to the next level. Yeah. And some have said that the people he brings in to the cabinet is a reflection of his intentions. So what direction do you expect the president to go now? Because like it is said, ex-governors, ministers, those who couldn't get their mandate are jostling for these positions.
Yeah. You see, it's quite unfortunate that once you become a minister, the eyes of everyone are on you. But the first failure or the source of failure of any minister is not even the minister himself. It's having an understanding of what government actually wants to achieve. In this case of having to work under President Buhari, I think President Buhari will be a very difficult man to work under because it's not a talking president. That is why a president like him must make his vision very clear at the beginning of the inception of his administration. The Minister of Education, this is the template I want you to follow, because you will not hear me talk often. So that when the president is even silent, I know as a minister that this is the direction that the president wants me to follow. I think that is what is missing in the last administration. A lot of people, these people are, to a certain extent, some of these ministers are not ordinary men. Their experience, their expertise cannot be questioned. They are good people. They've achieved. Some of them have been state governors that have performed excellently well. But when you do not have a direct direction as to where the government is heading towards, your work becomes very, very difficult. So I think the first thing the president, even before naming any minister, is to say, this next level I'm taking the people to, this is how I want to take them there. It's beyond knowing the destination. You must also understand the process that will get you
to that point. Thank you, gentlemen, for your contribution on the newspaper review this morning. We'll have to leave it at this point. Well,
let's head into the headlines papers now, see what the headlines are across Nigeria, various papers this morning. And I have with me in the studio a political technocrat, Dr. Dayo Kayode, as well as leadership and communication strategist, Dotun Ojon. Gentlemen, good morning and nice to see you.
Good morning, Mike.
Right. Let's begin with the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Governors inherit 3.9 trillion naira debts. And Lagos, Imo, Ogun, Bauchi, Oyo, Adamawa, most affected. That is what the report is saying. Okay. From the Vanguard, let's go to the Daily Sun. Daily Sun is saying APC crisis. Oyegun hates Oshomole, says he's incompetent to lead party. That's what the Daily Sun has this morning. Okay. From the Daily Sun, let's go to The Nation. The Nation newspaper is saying Lawan Dume step up race for Senate President. Kalu 58 APC senators unite for Senate leader. Okay, that's on the front page of the Nation newspaper. Certainly we'll be looking at that shortly. From there, let's go to the blueprint. New governors groan under debt burden. Lagos hits 1.04 trillion naira. Bauchi 140.6 billion naira, Gombe 76.9 billion naira, Zamfara 71.9 billion naira, and Kwara 76.6 billion naira. And I left 11 billion in treasury. Ex-governor of Bauchi State is saying that, and Nasarawa new governor is saying we're studying the books. Okay, that's all on the front page of the blueprint. From there, let's go to the Daily Trust. Daily Trust is our next paper now. Ex-governors, ministers jostle to make Buhari's cabinet. Okay, that politics heats up in earnest. All right, from Daily Trust, let's go to the Daily Times. And it's saying APC, Oyegun bombs Oshombole. It says ex-Edo governor lacks the temperament to run a political party. In South-South, APC chairman Bak Oshombole filed calls for his resignation. Okay, you can find all that on the Daily Times this morning. All right, gentlemen, let's look at the story on the front page of The Nation, which says Lawan Ndume steps up race for Senate president. Now, the point there is, in the last few days, there has been the call whether there should be an open ballot voting system for the National Assembly members, or it should be a closed system. What difference would it make when it is just within comrades in the National Assembly? Dotun, let me start with you on this.
Okay, I think it will make a lot of difference, but I actually frown at our new style of making a National Assembly election a national election.
Okay.
Really. Because if you look at it, the assembly part of it has been removed. It's now a national election. You see everybody jetting from one state to the other as if they want to become the president of Nigeria. And this, for me, is not a tidy job.
You're jostling for being president of the National Assembly. President is president.
So I think I have to fight that angle. Okay. But again, whatever happens within the National Assembly, I think the leadership should be able to decide. In this case now, there's been an issue of mistrust because the guideline to be used, there's a contest as to whether they're going to use the last guideline, which a lot of people called illegal, or the former one, which the last administration actually shoved by the side. So these are some of the arguments. But at the end of the day, what are Nigerians actually looking for? We're looking out for a National Assembly that will not be a rubber stamp to whatever the executive says in the first place, but that will be able to prioritize the welfare of the Nigerian people. We do not want a National Assembly that will delay budget under any guise. If executive submits budget and you think you are not comfortable, remove any part that you are not comfortable with, pass the ones that are going to serve Nigeria right, and we'll move forward.
After all, they are the direct representatives of the people. Now, Dr. Kayode, the concern we have heard a lot of analysts talk about is the issue of not having a consistent template for the election of the National Assembly leadership. Every dispensation that is coming in from the 4th to the 5th, the 6th to the 7th, and 8th, and even the 9th National Assembly, we often see the concept of whether we're going to use this or to use that. Why shouldn't there be a permanent template where okay, this is how it goes?
Before we understand that, we have to first of all look at what is politics in Nigeria.
Okay.
And who are those people playing the kind of politics in Nigeria? Our kind of politics is being enshrouded in what I call one form of trick or the other. And that's why some people always say...
But isn't that politics in itself?
That's why some people say politicians. So there are a lot of tricks that they want to use
to maneuver and
towards getting what they want to get at any point in time. And that's why you see, each time an assembly comes in, they come up with their own set agenda. Then they now have what we call house rules, okay? And that's house rules that they set is supposed to take them through that particular assembly. But you now find out, in a way of sort of playing themselves, I was just smiling inside of me when you were saying they are comrades. Are they really comrades? APC to APC are no comrades. PDP to PDP are no comrades. Because every one of them, they have inside of them, their own thing they want to gain from that assembly. And what is dictating that? It is what I look at as self-serving legislators that we have. They're not thinking about
the point there is,
themselves.
But the point there is that the leadership of the National Assembly are standing portfolios that have to be filled. Is it necessarily about what they'll have to gain for themselves? Because the issue there is everyone wants to get in there to serve.
That is why I'm telling you the kind of politicians we have here. There was a debate I was on with somebody. They were now asking that person, what is politics? He said politics is about business. Honestly, no.
It's no longer about conflict resolution.
This is a state chairman of a political party. When I was the state chairman of a party too, we were at a debate, televised, and it was saying politics about
referring
business.
it to be business could be contextual, because when you want to do serious thing, it's serious business.
No, politics is about
it could just be that
service.
context.
Politics is about service, not about
Exactly.
business.
The business of service.
Do you understand? No.
All right.
And that is why you see them trying to change rules and that. But to me, what kind of election brought them to that place? It's about secret ballot. So who is afraid of secret ballot? Why should we be afraid of secret ballot? Because in such a kind of an election, you don't need to know who I'm voting for. Because of...
Open secret ballot.
Do you understand? So why should you now be agitating for open ballot? Because you want to know who I vote for? No. We need somebody who is credible enough to lead the National Assembly so that we can get to our...
All right, we wait to see what the senators will come up with and House of Rep what they'll have to come up with at the end of the day. But Dotun, finally, what do you think should be their priority the moment the National Assembly
we should
comes on board?
we should push the society ahead of self. The kind of politics like Dr. Kayode said, I think majorly we should think about what the society will get, not necessarily about ourselves. So whatever, if I'm to serve Nigeria, it's not by force. If I want to serve you and you're telling me not to serve you, then I'll go to my house. If really I want to provide service, because the power belongs to the people. Okay. So I think we should have a little bit of a shift of mindset that any position you occupy, it is actually service to the people and not yourself. And once we have this, we're going to move forward. Okay,
we wait to see what the National Assembly members will come up with at the Senate and House of Reps. And the days are drawing closer. Dr. Ojon, thank you so much for coming.
Pleasure.
And Dr. Kayode, thank you very much for coming as well.
Pleasure always.
Right.